So I just did the other episode of The Pink Atheist, and I'm just sitting here messing around with this, and I don't know, I might put it on the air. I was noticing, it's so fascinating to me. I've never really liked to listen to my own voice, and I actually did tonight. I wanted to hear how it sounded. And you can kind of hear the sniffles from my sinuses, which is probably, what you could hear with Donald, plus some cocaine, whatever. But, so anyhow, I really like recording. And, my boyfriend always tells me that I have the voice for doing radio or podcasting, that kind of thing. He says I have a very professional voice. And I guess to a degree that I do. I try to speak as clearly as I can, and obviously I'm not as perfect as one would expect that I should be. I mean, there's no real rocket science to this. But in the same token, it's very hard because you're kind of just sitting here and you have to think of the topics that you want to do and how you want to say them and the specifics of how you want to say them so that your audience can really understand you. And I think that over the years I've gotten quite a grasp on it, and I've really enjoyed it. When I first started doing The Pink Atheist, I was very much a naive person about it. I had no real clue how to get it done. And a gentleman who later took his own life, which is a very big tragedy, he actually helped me set it up and do the dynamics for the podcast. And as I said, it's tragic that he ended his life, obviously, very soon, too soon. But unfortunately, we can't determine the outcome of other people's lives. I think that life is hard for everyone, but especially some people really have a hard go of it. And so, of course, over the years, because it's been since, I believe, 2000 and, 13 that I've been doing this. And now I haven't constantly been doing it because obviously I don't always have the time, and I really wish that I did. If this was lucrative for me, and I'm really just, a nobody. I'm just a girl, a very liberal girl who started out very conservative and, got educated and became the woman that's completely different from that. I mean, I grew up with parents who, whether or not they wanted to acknowledge it, were very conservative minded. And when you say Democrat, there are a lot of people who believe that they are Democrats, but they are old world Democrats, which is, modern conservatives. My parents were very much, how do I put this? They were the kind of people who blame the women, who think that, women should remain virgins until they're married, kind of backward, sex isn't a talk we have in this house kind of people. And so, I grew up in that kind of staunchy, cramped environment. And, my father had this penchant for degrading Republicans, but if you sat down and explained to him the difference between a Republican and a Democrat, I'm sure at some point he would figure out that he's actually been siding with them all along. And so here I am. I became more liberal because I believe that homosexuals should have their own rights and marriage equality. And I became more liberal because I saw that, the lines are not cut and dry. You may have a perception of what's right and wrong, but you may not always be right about being wrong. So I grew and expanded my mind. And then I started coming out as an atheist. I got more active in the atheist community. And there were some really wonderful people. And there were some really not so wonderful people. And out of that bore some people saying, we want to hear more of you. And they suggested that I start doing a podcast. And at first I railed against it. I was like, why would I do a podcast? This is just not who I am. And they were like, look, we want to hear more of you, more. And, I've become so introverted in the last couple years because there is such a problem in America with data breaches and intrusions into your personal life and things like that. And I don't know, I've kind of got the feeling that my life should belong to me in some aspect. And I don't mean that in a negative way. It's just that it really put me off when people were absolutely demanding all my time and all my attention, and I literally didn't have any time or attention to give myself. And that has actually sparked this because I felt like as long as my life was out there and on the line, people were able to criticize it in such a way that I always was on the defense. And I feel like if I'm always that kind of defensive and sound that angry, that's really not who I want to be. I'm an average person who, I know a few things, I can do a few things, and I just want to live a good, happy life. I just want to do well by myself and by others and not mess with anyone and enjoy what beauty there is. And I mean, I get a lot of joy out of my life. I really do. My boyfriend, he has two wonderful children. They are absolutely beautiful inside and out, and I love them. And, they say remarkable things as well as they say profound things and things that make me question what they were thinking when that came out of their mouth. But they're beautiful little individuals, and I enjoy having them around, as well as at times him, most of the time. So, I felt like if I was always putting my life out there for everyone else to criticize, that I wasn't really getting the joy out of my life because I always had to second guess it. And no one should have to really second guess the entirety of their life. I mean, that's a lot of homework to do every day. So I've kind of introverted more. And I don't know that I like it, but I don't know that I don't. Because I find that if I don't have to justify myself to other people, that there is a bit of me that's a little bit more happy. In the same token, though, I miss my friends. I miss that socialization. I miss that being able to just go out and do things. And, life has been off kilter for a while because I left college. So I've been trying to adjust to a different life now, post-college life, and it's been kind of difficult. It's been an uphill battle. And now I'm not some spry young chick that doesn't know what the real world is like. I very much have lived in the real world for quite some time. But I am this woman who, is trying to get her life set because I want to move forward with the next step of it. So it's been quite an experience. And I think that has led to a lot of exhaustion on my part. And, while I want to open up and spend time with people, I find that true friendship isn't really found on Facebook. You can find some companionship, some well-wishers, but I don't want to go as far as to say true friendship, because you might get to know people, but the majority of what happens there is just banter. That's it. Back and forth, whether it's good or bad, some well-wishers, and then move on with your day. But in the reality, in the real scope of things, when it comes to it, you turn around and they're not actual pieces of your life as much as you want them to be. And I would much rather have actual pieces of my life hang around me, And I think that's where everything changed. Because I don't want a company just stealing my information and putting it out there and being bothered all day by this nonsensical attempts to steal my time, arguments about philosophies and ideologies, and they come to nothing except for more arguments about ideologies and philosophies. So I've withdrawn a lot of time and attention from Facebook. I've withdrawn a lot of time and attention from a lot of places. I've chosen to be a more anonymous figure. And the reason being is because I don't like the disturbing direction that the atheist community is going. You know, David Silverman for me was really the last straw, because I was thinking about going back forward into the atheist community, and then when I saw that, I just said to myself, what's the point? You know, it's so divisive there, because you have people with complete different ideologies, with complete different notions about how to be a good person, secrets, all sorts of things going on, and I just don't have the energy to invest in that. You know, I have a family that I want to invest energy into, and those two things they aren't cohesive. There are some really wonderful people that I've met through the atheist community, and I want to say that I've been fortunate to meet them, honestly. And I miss them. I miss being able to socialize with them, hang out. But unfortunately, life is just that way. I've been concentrating on working and taking care of home and family. And, you know, I do couponing. Sometimes I do painting. I do my own nails, and I obviously paint those. And, you know, I try to stay busy in my own world. And I'm very far away from my best friend, Ashley. And it makes me sad about every day. But in the long run, you know, I know that I made the choice to come here. But I would love to see my life, you know, picking up from here. And it's hard. I mean, life anywhere is hard, and especially right now in this nation. But that's all I can give you about why I'm not who I was in the atheist community, why I'm not who I was on Facebook. Life for me has changed. I have changed. I've become less of a drama person. Like, I want to say the truth. I want to see the truth. I want to know the truth and keep pushing. And I think that that's a good quality for an atheist. In the same token, I don't want the drama. I don't want to have to back and forth. And you know, the boyfriend that I had before this one left a foul taste in my mouth. I just can't get over how creepy and manipulative he was, and how stalkery, like, all over my Facebook wall, reading every comment. It just really put it to me how somebody can be so obsessed with you in such a negative way that it makes you uncomfortable even to be seen, and then you just want to hide away because you think this person is taking so much more from Facebook than they are from me as a human being. And if that's the case, then, you know, I'm not going to give Facebook anything, because I am me at the end of the day. And it really profoundly changed me, because I wanted, like, the saying, shed your skin. That's how I felt like I wanted to do when I got away from him. I felt like I wanted to shed my skin. Just tear away anything that had ever been tainted by him. And one thing that he really tainted was Facebook, and I don't think that I've really dealt with that. Because, you know, when somebody chases you around, and even when you're broken up and they're still on your Facebook and their kids are still on your Facebook, it's a creepy notion. It's like, why do you bother? Because you don't mean enough for me to go around chasing you like that. Why are you doing it to me? So, I don't know. I'm staying away from Facebook as much as possible, because I just find it too toxic. And I'm a better person without it. I'm a calmer person. I'm a happier person. And that's the way life should be lived. Thanks for listening to my musings. I hope you enjoyed it. That's just a little bit more about me. Get to know me if you want. Ignore me if you don't. It's all good. Just take care of yourself. Thanks.